What's going on, you guys? Pet Platypus here, and today I'm bringing you guys kind of a different video. This is kind of a live reaction slash video response to a video called What I Dislike About Dragon Ball Z Rant. It seems to be a video that I can kind of debunk, because what I wanted to do was make videos kind of debunking criticisms about the Dragon Ball series. And this felt like a kind of interesting and more unique way of going about it, because I watched about a minute of the video, and it seems like what this dude's going to talk about is something I would have made a video about, having to do with Gohan and his character development, and is it good or bad or whatever. So, yeah, no offense to Nerd Swag at all. Just using your audio so I can respond to the video respectfully. This is not, I mean, I may make some jokes, but this is not an attack. This is nothing like that. So, hopefully you guys can hear the audio. And, yeah, I've already seen about a minute of the video, so I won't have much to say, but I'll get it started.
Hey guys, this is Ashley here again for Nerd Swag, here to bring you a little rant of mine that I wanted to get off my chest for a while. And this is something that I'm sure a lot of people do agree on with me. But feel free in the comment section to let me know how you feel about this. But yeah, I'm pretty much going to give you guys my reason of why I dislike Dragon Ball Z. I love Dragon Ball Z as a whole series. It's one of my favorite series. But there's one thing that's always really bugged me and still bugs me to this day. And that one thing is the lack of character development in the series.
The lack of character development.
If you go over the whole
I can't
series,
wait.
There's only like 3 people who get character development in all of Dragon Ball.
3 people in all of Dragon Ball.
Piccolo, because he was evil, becomes good. It's Vegeta, because he was evil, he becomes good. And I believe Gohan gets this much character development.
This much, that you can't see it.
The character development for Gohan is what I really want to talk about.
Okay, so he's going to talk about Gohan's character development. I got to pause it for a second. So Krillin doesn't start off as this arrogant little snobby brat who doesn't like Goku and wants to take shortcuts in his training. He doesn't start like that. He doesn't start off a little bit pervy and kind of become more humble over time and grow as a character to the Krillin we know later in the series. Yamcha doesn't start off as this guy who's afraid of women and has to conquer that fear, and he doesn't go through fear of, you know, villains, because he's gotten his ass kicked so many times that he just kind of is very fearful of villains that arrive, and he's like, I'm not going to fight anymore. That doesn't happen for Yamcha. Bulma doesn't go from like this teenage, you know, brat, kind of acting kind of like her teenage self all the way through to the Frieza saga, and then once she becomes a mother, her personality has to change real quick because she has to take care of a kid and she has to act differently and be more responsible. That doesn't happen. No, Goku doesn't develop at all. I don't want to go into Goku's because that would take forever, but yeah, none of that stuff happens. Just Piccolo, Vegeta, and Gohan. Alright, so let's keep going.
About what I really dislike about this series. So, if you guys know this series, you guys know who Gohan is. But I'll describe who he is for the people who haven't seen this series. So Gohan is the son of Goku. Goku is essentially the main character of the series. After Dragon Ball, he has a kid with Chi-Chi. They name him Gohan after Goku's grandfather.
It's just a total nitpick, but you don't need to, if you're explaining who Goku or Gohan is, you don't need to say who he's named after, but it's whatever, it's a nitpick.
And so, the thing that really bugs me is, from the very beginning, from the very moment, almost the very moment Gohan is introduced in the series, he is set up to become the new hero of the series. We see
He is not, but you can keep going.
at the very beginning with the fight with Rant, Gohan gets angry because he sees his father getting hurt, and he gets a power level higher than Piccolo's and higher than Goku's. From this rage he gets put into, and actually manages to hurt Raditz. Also, we see some of his potential with his fight against Vegeta when he comes to Earth. And technically, Gohan is the one that defeats Vegeta. If you remember, he turns into the giant ape, also known as the Ozaru, and falls on top of Vegeta, and that's what eventually does him in. And before that,
Because of Goku's guidance, but whatever.
Gohan was actually fighting against an injured Vegeta and actually holding his own. So, essentially, he does beat Vegeta. And then we see in the Frieza saga, Gohan against Frieza. Gohan almost kills Frieza in his third form. If you remember that giant energy battle wave against Frieza, the only thing that saved Frieza was his tail. If he would have made contact with the Earth, or with the planet Namek, then he might have actually died or been severely injured to where they couldn't finish him off themselves.
No. Wait, what? Why? He's showing footage of Gohan beating up Frieza's second form. He's talking about the third form thing. I know what he's talking about. He reflected the blast. He just noticed how close he was getting to the Earth, or to Namek's surface, and he was like, okay, fuck this. This is actually a stronger blast than I thought. And threw it away. I never took that as Gohan almost killed him, but whatever.
And then finally we see Gohan reach his full potential in the Cell Saga, and he's the one that defeats Cell.
Again, with Goku's help and guidance.
And over the course of this, you see him just being built up as a character, the person who has shown the potential just to be the strongest warrior in the universe. There's several times where he becomes enraged at seeing his friends injured or seeing his dad injured, and becomes more powerful than any other Z warrior that's there at the time. And so, with all this build-up, we get to the Cell Saga, with all this writing Akira has been doing, building up Gohan's character and building up his power to the Cell Saga to where it becomes the first person that becomes Super Saiyan 2, defeats Cell, and at this point he's miles above everybody in terms of power. So we see this, and we all see it coming. You know, it's kind of obvious. Even Trunks says in his timeline, Gohan is the only one that survives against the androids. And I don't think that's a coincidence that he's the only one that survives against the androids, because...
I know I'm not talking much, because... Excuse me, I had to sniffle. He did it too. Fuck it. Well, I'm going to say, I don't really have much to say. That's why I'm not talking too much. I'm kind of just letting him go. He's just kind of explaining how Gohan has the hidden potential and everything, but he's kind of ignoring where Gohan doesn't want to fight Cell. He's kind of ignoring... I'll get to it if he mentions it.
At this point, that's probably how he turned Super Saiyan. The rage from seeing all of his friends die, and he's able to hold his own all those years fighting against the androids, even though with a Zenkai boost, fighting against the androids, he should have eventually beat him. But that's just how it was written. So, the argument a lot of people want to give to this is Gohan doesn't like to fight. Gohan is not a fighter. He wants to become a scholar.
Yeah.
And my argument against this is...
There is no argument against. That's exactly what he wants to become a scholar. He's not a fighter.
Is character development. If Gohan's character had any development, he would have understood his role in protecting the Earth and needing to protect the Earth. Because, like Android 16 said in his speech to Gohan before he became Super Saiyan, he said, Gohan, I know you don't like to fight, but you do love the things on the planet Earth. You love animals, you love nature, you love all these things. So don't fight for the enjoyment of battle. Fight to protect the Earth and the things that you love. So at that point, I know he's young, he's only like 13 or 14, but if
he's 11.
You're going to introduce him when he's 4 or 5 years old in a series, he has to have character development. And that character development should have been after talking to Android 16 before he turns Super Saiyan, or before he turns Super Saiyan 2. It should have been, okay, I understand my role. I don't have to enjoy fighting. It's not like, I'm not like my dad. I'm not like Vegeta.
The thing, yeah, you aren't like them. The thing I like about Gohan is that he isn't like his dad. He doesn't have to enjoy fighting, but Goku also fights to protect the Earth and everything. It's just, I don't know, I like that Gohan isn't just a carbon copy of his dad, and anyway, I get what he's saying, but...
I'm not a full saint, but the thing is, if I want to protect the Earth and protect the things I love, I need to continue on and train in order to be the next savior of the planet Earth. Since after the Cell Saga, Goku goes away for 7 years. He's dead for 7 years. And
yes, Goku's dead. The strongest being in the universe, as to their knowledge, Frieza, is dead. His dad is dead. Cell, who was stronger than Frieza but was a man-made android thing, is dead. So what else is there? He's still insanely strong in the Buu saga. Vegeta criticizes that he's not as strong as when he fought Cell, but he's still very, very powerful. He can take on most threats. I don't think anybody was prepared for something like Majin Buu, and Goku also left the Earth specifically so that it would be at peace, because people always seem to want to fight Goku. Goku always attracts bad people. But whatever, that's all predicting on Goku's part. It would be a good precaution for Gohan to train, but he's still insanely powerful in his own right, even though he hasn't trained.
He decides not to come back because he feels like he's the problem, and the Earth would be safer with him gone. So, and it's not like Gohan had to train 24/7. He could have studied and trained, but he decided just to study, which doesn't make sense to me. And it doesn't make sense to someone who has half of the same blood, doesn't enjoy fighting just a little bit. I mean, we see him throughout the whole series training. He trained from the point where he was 5 years old to the point where he was 13 years old. So there has to be a little bit of that Saiyan blood getting in there and saying.
No, not really. He trained from when he was 4 because Piccolo forced him to. He was scared against the Cybermen. He was scared against Nappa. It was only until his dad was, coaching him through the fight with Vegeta and giving him the motivation. And then for Namek, he didn't really do any, train. He did some training with Krillin, whatever, but that was essentially like, oh, I'm going to go to Namek because I feel responsible for Piccolo's death. Then, he didn't know Frieza was going to be there. No one knew Frieza. No one even knew Frieza was a thing at the time. So they come back, and then you've got the androids. And it's kind of like, well, yeah, there's a threat. My dad and Piccolo are going to train with me. Okay. But I don't know, he doesn't, train, yeah, I want to train. I mean, yeah, he says that a couple of times, but kids have different personalities than they have later. He could have just been trying to please Goku, there's a lot of reasons.
Okay, I actually do enjoy fighting. And he's even came on and said that he wanted to be like his dad when he got older. He admired his dad. So it is really far-fetched.
I don't remember Gohan saying that. Maybe he did at one point. I'm not sure.
Say that he wasn't trained at all those 7 years. It's really crazy as Akira, as a writer, to say that I'm just going to make...
Did he not? I could have sworn he did a little bit of training during the 7 years. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he did none, but I could have sworn he said, yeah, I haven't been really keeping up with it, but I've done a little. I'm not sure, though. He may be right. He maybe didn't train at all, but I could have sworn he did.
For 7 years. It's a total plot hole. Well, it's not a plot hole, it's just bad.
I was about to say, it's not a plot hole, dude. Relax.
Really bad writing to have Gohan not train for 7 years. He could have trained for 3 hours a day and studied for the rest, and he still would have been fighting. He still would have been the strongest when it came to the Buu saga. He could have had Bulma sent him over one of those gravity ships that Vegeta uses and Goku uses to train. He only needed to train 2 hours a day with those gravity machines, and he would have been set. It's really ridiculous, really bad writing. And now we're seeing this bad writing take fruition in the new movies that are coming out. Battle of Gods. First of all, Akira made him turn Super Saiyan when he can't turn Super Saiyan, because after the Mystic Gohan and in the Buu saga can't turn Super Saiyan, yet they have to go back and
Hold on, let me
fix that in order to not have him turn Super Saiyan against the Battle of Beerus. And then he turns Super Saiyan when he's giving his dad the God powers. Doesn't make any sense.
He can turn Super Saiyan. Nothing is ever explicitly stated that he cannot turn Super Saiyan. He can do it if he chooses to. As far as I know, the way I've always seen it is with all of his potential and power unlocked all at once. I don't know if Super Saiyan would boost his strength at that point with just everything all out at once. I don't know the specifics to that, really. It's not fully explained. At least in my recollection, I haven't read or watched the Buu saga in a long time. But he can choose to turn Super Saiyan if he wants to. And eventually all that unlocked potential will fade over time when he slacks off in his training, so it would make sense that he'd have to go Super Saiyan to boost his power later. But anyways.
So now we already have another trailer that came out showing Gohan turning Super Saiyan. So unless they explain it in this movie as to how he can become Super Saiyan, It's another, that's a big plot hole right there.
He can just do it, so you're wrong, but
that's
whatever.
really my huge problem with Dragon Ball Z is Gohan's development as a character. I feel like they purposely had to nerf him in order to have Goku and Vegeta become the main characters. And that's fine, but you can honestly have a story with Goku, Vegeta, and Gohan all sharing the spotlight, which is what they did do in the Cell Saga and in part of the Buu Saga. They had them share spotlight, but then they had Gohan get defeated by Buu, even though apparently he can turn Super Saiyan. If he would have turned Super Saiyan in the fight against Buu, he would have demolished him against Buu tanks. But I guess that's just the way he wants to write it. At least he.
Okay, well, Buu tanks, if you want to call him that, was like Gotenks, Piccolo, and himself combined. I know that Mystic Gohan, if you want to call him that, was pretty overwhelming, but I'm pretty sure with Gotenks and Piccolo and his increased intelligence, that's a tough fight, even if he was to go Super Saiyan, but I don't know, that's all theory.
He's like coming out and admit that he messed up with the character development of Gohan. I could accept it if he came out and admitted
he did come out and admitted that he messed up. He admitted that he messed up by almost making Gohan the new hero because it didn't fit, and then he changed it. So yeah, he did admit that he messed up, just not the way you want him to.
Messed up on the character development of Gohan, or maybe just come up with a movie where he actually shares some of the spotlight with Goku or Vegeta, or even make him the main character, because Gohan has always been a fan favorite, and has always been, or should have been, the universe's strongest warrior. Because especially against Beerus, he didn't turn Super Saiyan against Beerus when he went and fought him in the last movie. If he would have turned Super Saiyan 2, because apparently he could turn Super Saiyan, according to the movie, if he would have turned Super Saiyan 2 and fought against Beerus, what would have happened?
He would have gotten his ass stomped like Vegeta did. He's not keeping up on his training. If he had gone Super Saiyan 2, full power, rage, Beerus would have still owned him. He owned Vegeta. He owned Super Saiyan 3 Goku. He owned fucking Gotenks. He owned Fat Buu, who's not like that strong, I guess, compared to like Kid Buu and stuff. But he owned everybody there. Like everybody, no matter how mad they were, how strong they were. So he would have gotten his ass kicked just as easily.
Because on top of his mystic powers that he got, he didn't even know Super Saiyan. He just powered up a little bit, went and got knocked around by Beerus. Didn't even really.
I'm sure the sniffling sounds absolutely awful. It's just I'm having a little bit of allergies right now. I apologize.
Try, because apparently he could turn Super Saiyan. So they're nerfing him in order to have Goku and Vegeta have the spotlight, which is a little stupid. I mean, Gohan didn't have to defeat Beerus. It still could have been Goku, but at least give Gohan what Vegeta got. Vegeta got a few good hits in on Beerus. Gohan got nothing, and Gohan is still the third strongest out of the three, out of Goku, Vegeta, Gohan. So
yeah, it's true, but still.
To say that would happen.
It's really not that far-fetched at all.
I really think that is the thing that I think about it. I had a talk with my friend at work about this because he's a Dragon Ball Z fan too, about how they're just nerfing Gohan for everything, because he's a big Gohan fan too, as most people are who are a fan of Dragon Ball Z. It's either Gohan or Vegeta, but we agree that he had to get nerfed in order to make Goku the main character again, which is BS, because how are you going to build...
Maybe it's just because of how he worded it, but you don't have to nerf Gohan to make Goku the main character. The main character does not have to be the strongest in the series. In the manga that I'm doing my own rough drafts for, my main character is not the strongest in the series. As far as good guys go, he's the strongest in the crew, but Luffy's not the strongest good guy in One Piece. I can't believe I'm saying this because it's fucking fairy tale, but I don't know at this point, Natsu's stupid overpowered, but I'm pretty sure Natsu's not the strongest good guy in fairy tale. So the main character, he probably just worded it wrong. I might just be nitpicking this, but you don't have to be the strongest to be the main character, is what I'm saying.
The character for so long in your series, and then all of a sudden just downgrade him for no apparent reason. So
there was a reason, though.
It's a disservice to all the people who grew up watching Gohan become the guy, and yeah. But that's just my thoughts. Leave your guys' comments in the comments section down below. Like the video if you enjoyed this rant. Subscribe to Nerd Swag. Until next time, you guys. Peace.
Okay, so yeah, that was bullshit. Yeah, no offense to the video or whatever, but first of all, like I already said, there are way more characters that get character development in the series. Like, I'm not even going to mention Goku, because again, it would take forever. Goes from a child all the way to adulthood. Gohan, his character development is very much there. He starts off as this spoiled little brat. He ends up becoming a pretty good wilderness survivor. He's not really scared of the dinosaurs anymore. He's learning to accept Piccolo. He brings out the change in Piccolo that develops Piccolo's character. And as it continues going forward, he's scared of certain opponents, but then in the Namek arc, he's no longer afraid to jump into fights when he feels he needs to, and when he feels responsible. Then you've got the Cell Saga and everything, where he's basically downplayed until the very, very end, where Goku pushes him forward for the whole fight with Cell, where we find out it's like, well, he doesn't want to fight Cell. He probably feels that his dad could do it. He probably feels that they could team up and do it. Once his anger takes over and he becomes Super Saiyan 2, he scares himself. He does not... He's like, whoa, I was like really arrogant. I was like wanting to torture Cell, and he hasn't suffered enough, and saying all these things. And he made the huge fucking mistake of toying with Cell, and Goku had to sacrifice his life. And then Gohan has like no confidence in himself, and Cell's gonna destroy the fucking solar system, and Goku has to coach him through the entire father and son Kamehameha. And I'm talking about great scenes, by the way. These are all power scenes in the series that are awesome, but my point is, Gohan beat Cell with the help of his dad, and he was just not fit to be the new hero. He just didn't like fighting, to the point where he was not even motivated to fight Cell. Android 16 gave him that speech, and it helped him in the moment, but it wasn't something, because especially, I always assumed that because it came from someone like Android 16, who's not really someone Gohan was that familiar with, it didn't really seem like a speech that would stick in Gohan's mind for the rest of his life or anything, but yeah, I really don't have much else to say. It makes sense. Vegeta's there to protect the Earth. There's Goten and Trunks can turn into Super Saiyans. They were at peace for year after year after year. They probably assumed everything's fine. Again, strongest guy in the universe, dead. His father, dead. The strongest other being in the universe, you got like Android 18. She's fucking chilling with Krillin. She's cool. 17, I forget what happened to 17. But he wasn't doing anything either. Cell, the strongest being in the universe, man-made construct, gone. Who else is there? No one knows about this sleeping demon that's out there. You can always be prepared for threats, but how many threats really, I don't know how to word it. It's just, how many threats can come from Earth that are strong enough to where Gohan's not strong enough? They'd have to come from outer space, and like I said, strongest being in the universe from outer space is, you get what I'm saying. So I think it makes sense that Gohan would slack off in his training. I think it makes sense that he would, not train every single day, not as diligently. I can see why he would get a little bit weaker. And then the Battle of the Gods stuff was just... Of course he would get his ass kicked by Beerus. Why... Vegeta's moment where he beats on Beerus was dumb anyway. In the Dragon Ball Super anime it was better, but... The whole fucking he surpassed Goku for fucking a brief time. That would have made way more sense with Gohan, but still, he was still gotten his ass kicked at the end of the day. It doesn't matter. Yeah, I don't know. It's just Gohan as a character. I'm glad the dude mentioned the whole scholar thing and doesn't want to fight, but there really is no counter argument to that. I understand that it would make a lot of sense. What he said would make sense, but it's just not what happened, and it's not bad writing that those things didn't happen, because what you wanted to have happen didn't happen does not make it bad writing. That's what I'm trying to say. So Gohan's fine. He's a good character. A lot of people don't like what happens to him in the Buu Saga and stuff. Then he's not your favorite character. It's that simple. If you don't like that this character became a scholar, then he's not your favorite character. It's that simple. Most people only like Gohan in the Cell Saga. That's it. I've never heard anybody say Gohan was cool in the Saiyan Saga, where he's a bitch and is scared. Well, I won't say a bitch, but when he's scared of Nappa and scared of Cybermen, And in the Namek arc, where he gets a few good hits in on Frieza and stuff, but whatever, the majority of the Android saga, he's not there doing much. And then he becomes Super Saiyan 2. He's a badass right there, and that's like where all the favoritism comes from. That's where all the people are like, Gohan's such a great character. They miss the point that that was not a good thing. Like, it was a good thing power-wise, but Goku miscalculated. Gohan was not even Gohan anymore. He was a little monster who was like, no, Cell hasn't suffered enough yet. I need to beat the shit out of him a little bit more. You know, he wasn't even himself. You know, it wasn't like Goku. Goku, when he first turned Super Saiyan, he was filled with anger. He pointed it at Frieza. He was still mostly, you know, in control of himself and everything. And he could still make the choice of like, alright, you know what, I'm done fighting you and all that. You know, the Super Saiyan was taking him over to a certain extent, but and not like it has its own personality. I don't want to word that weird. But with Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, he was a completely different character, and it was not like a good thing. So, yeah, a lot of people just kind of misunderstand Gohan as a character, and they just don't really understand that he was not fit to be... Even Toriyama knew he was not fit to be the new main character. He wasn't fit to be the new savior of Earth. So, yeah, could there be different ways of writing the story? Sure, but just because something didn't happen does not mean it's bad writing. That's all I'm trying to say. Anyways, thanks for watching this video. What did you guys think of the video I reacted to in the comment section below? Hopefully you guys could hear the video, because editing in the audio is going to be tricky when I pause it all the time. But, yeah, I don't know. It's just... yeah. Anyway, like I said, thanks for watching the video. Tell me what you guys thought of the video I reacted to. Tell me what you guys thought about what I had to say in the comment section below. Follow me on Instagram, that would help me out a lot. Subscribe if you haven't already, or if you like what you've seen here, give this video a thumbs up, forgot to say that. That would help me out a lot, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.